My name is Michael Miller, and this is a Michael Miller trademark training video out to you because you're watching. It's meant for Michael Miller Pilates licensed affiliates, licensed presenters, the Core New Core, my patrons, and anyone interested in surviving and thriving as a Pilates instructor. So, just two things today, pretty practical, and one maybe more an announcement than a thing. But number one is a question: why leg circles before frog? You know, if you're in the dancer world, say plie, or in some other world, bend your knees. But why do something with straight legs before you would do something bending the knees? Specifically, say on the reformer, before you would ever get to doing the short spine, you would demonstrate control in first, I'm suggesting, leg circles, and then the frog, in that order. And why would that be? Now, either you're so sure of yourself that you just want me to hear my reason to affirm how much you already know about that, but pointing to the simplicity of, it's, okay, go back, why would that be? That has to do with Pilates, and what's our target in Pilates? Our target is control. Contrology, he named his method. And so when you're trying to discern things or evaluate things or filter different ways of looking at things, right? For me, recognizing that there's a lot of different ways to view things, and I choose to try to just hold up a target of control as a way of distinguishing between different points of view. Blah, blah, blah. Control. The target, or after control. And so the reason you do leg circles before frog is because it doesn't take as much control to do something with a straight limb as it does to do something where there's an articulation of a joint within the limb. And of course I'm saying limbs, right? Because whatever is true of the legs, for the most part, is true of the arms in the way they're organically part of the whole, and the way they contribute and function by structure, meaning joints. And so miss not talking more with Mary, who's just getting out of chiropractic, and it's all about joints, because it all boils down to physics. And I couldn't have agreed with her more that it all boils down to physics. I see joints as facilitating movement, but I see all of the dynamic of bone and muscle and tendon and sinew and fascia and all of it interacting. Together, I guess. I can't know where I was going with that. So whether it's arm or leg, straight is much easier to control than articulating at a joint. Maybe that's just too obvious to even mention. But in terms of understanding what you would teach a person and why, based on what your target is if you're after contrology, and how that structure reveals itself in the mat itself, the order and the content of the mat, right? Straight before bent. And then through the rest of the work and throughout, recognize that the articulation of the elbow and the knee is a luxury. Go about trying not to use them and just be straight-limbed. Evolution would have none of that. But which is easier to control? I'd say the straight limb first before articulating at a joint, like a knee or an elbow. And in terms of being eccentric, out away from center, doing Pilates is coming out from that center within each of us as individuals, and the experience we're in alive as humans. So simple, really, obvious maybe, but then in terms of progression, progressive patterns of movement, progressive loading, eccentric loading, it's all about, well, it's not all about, but in the sense that you take contrology as a criteria, a template or a filter for how you interpret whatever it is you're thinking of relative to the word Pilates. See that? That's just Joe's last name. There you go, that's the point. The point is to recognize Joe called his method contrology, and that gives you the clarity of knowing what he named it, and there the attachment to the name to gain guidance from. So, number 2 is what? I'm working on an MMP Reformer picture book. I got asked to use all my pictures on the website for free, and I said, thank you, no. But I would like to make them available and exchange value for value and allow others to do the same. And instead of worrying about having it be a transmission of information over the internet, focusing on what's most immediate and in hand, which would be an actual physical book, paper and ink, of pictures that cover the Reformer. I'm happy and I'm pleased and I'm grateful and I'm relieved to have spent this time with you over the last 1,225 days. It's a long way from trying to create an audio or create a place to broadcast from in CompuServe a long time ago. And I'm so grateful and happy and relieved and pleased that here technology has allowed me to extend this broadcast to you that hopefully carries the information, the knowledge of 2 things. If you want to make a reservation for a book, send $20 to www.paypal.me/michaelmillerpilates. Now, I don't expect there to be a list, or anybody to want one before I can hold it up and say so. So this is just a way of giving you forewarning, because forewarned is forearmed. Even then, life can't live forever. So read between the lines. see behind the curtain. Connect the dots. Maybe that's the dots that you connect becomes the picture that you see. Evaluate points of view. Take confidence and comfort in knowledge that you have that few will embrace with interest, outside of you just being an instructor and delivering what it is and what you're after and how you go about what you do. Don't reach into being a teacher in the thinking part. Don't press yourself into being the teacher, because really, unless someone's coming towards this, it's not going to be the peak of their wave. Add 2 and 2, and be aware of an uncertain future. Prepared. Do your mat, right? Know why you do Pilates. Direct your thinking. Geist.